Chapter 10. Convalescence. After lunch, I turned my attention to improving the base. I built a hearth, moved out the obstructive stones, and constructed a sleeping area. Task complete. I made sure to gather firewood, too. It was easy since plenty of driftwood lined the riverbank. Now I suppose it's time to hunt for food. I gestured at Kalalia to rest. She nodded in agreement when I motioned for her to remove her armor, and when I pointed toward the sleeping area, she obediently lay down. How well she follows. Armed and carrying a large bag for foraging, I set out. I hauled logs into the base as I exited. So, what do I need? Meat, liver, potato fruit, fish, vegetables. Liver is listed separately from meat, Vegetables are a matter of chance. I'll just keep probing, as usual. I figured I'd come back for fish later, so I ventured into the woods. The growth wasn't dense, making for easy passage. I busily inspected unidentified plants. Nothing yet. Every now and then I found potato fruit and collected it. Then I spotted a familiar cluster of salad greens. They're rare. I gathered a generous amount. Edible. Yes! Next to the salad greens, I discovered another patch of leafy plants. High in calcium. Please gather liberally. Got it. Testing it raw, it had a mild bitterness, but sautéed, it'd be delicious. Great. Now I just needed meat and fish. Still in the woods, I wandered and checked around. At 2 o'clock in the tree, indeed, upon zooming in, I saw a huge black bird about 50 meters away perched on a branch. It looked like an oversized black chicken, absurdly large for its arboreal position. Anticipating this, I'd brought several fist-sized stones from the riverbank. Approaching to about 30 meters, I wound up and hurled one at its neck. Bullseye. It flailed, crashed to the ground, and I swiftly captured it, slit its throat, and drained the blood. A confirmation popped up. Edible. Meat secured. It was huge and heavy, easily a meter long. I'd haul it back to the river and butcher it there. Then I'd catch fish and hit the target. On the way back, I discovered another edible plant. Edible. At first glance, it looked like ordinary grass, but the bulbous roots suggested otherwise. I pulled one up, crushed it, and it smelled like garlic. Fantastic find. I harvested 5 or so. Perfect, much-needed seasoning, since supplies were low. About an hour later, I returned to the base to avoid worrying Kalalia. She greeted me joyfully, perhaps happy to see the bird I caught more than me. I began by plucking its feathers. They came off easily and weren't too fine, leaving it smooth. Inside, I found a massive, oddly pale liver. Liver, can I eat it raw? Yes. Yes! My first raw liver. I wasn't worried about parasites or viruses thanks to Nanom. The thigh meat was too big to grill with bone, so I cut it up. Dinner would be indulgent using the right half of the bird, wings and drumsticks, chopped into bite-sized pieces. I skipped the breast and tenders, too precious. I reserved those for fish bait. I thinly sliced the pale liver and put it aside in the pot. Next, fish. I set up 2 pen traps by the river as yesterday. The near-bank trap held the liver for blood draining. The riverside trap held guts and tender chunks as bait. Kalalia crouched beside me. Why not? About 10 minutes later, I heard splashing. Here they come! I kneeled quietly and saw a fish thrashing in the bait trap. I threw my knife and nailed it. Target met. It was a salmon-sized fish. I scaled and filleted it. Fatty, too. I retrieved the liver from the river, washed the vegetables, and brought them everything into the base. Kalalia had already lit the fire. She's so thoughtful. Tonight's menu: raw liver sashimi, garlic stir-fry of wings, drumsticks, potato fruit, and leafy greens, plus salt-grilled salmon and herb-roasted chicken thighs. I peeled and finely minced the garlic bulbs. Ideally, I'd grate them, but lacking tools, I minced them. I arranged the liver slices on a platter, topping each with minced garlic. I demonstrated by eating one. I scooped the garlic with my fork, added a little salt, and savored it. It was divine. No off flavor, just richly intense liver taste complemented by the punch of raw garlic. Calelia watched in surprise, then imitated me. Her eyes widened on the first bite, and she devoured it eagerly. We finished in no time. Then came the stir-fry. I heated leftover chicken skin, letting the fat render. I rescued the crispy skin and salted it for Calelia. She gobbled it up. I sautéed garlic chips in the rendered fat until golden, set them aside, then stir-fried potto fruit. When it was cooked through, I added the meat and finally the greens to preserve their crunch, tossing in garlic chips at the end. Served on a big dish. Delicious. The potto fruit absorbed the garlicky fat, the chicken pieces had great texture, and the greens were perfect. Satisfying. While grilling salmon, I received a message from Nanam to feed the skin to Calelia. It's the best part. Oh well, it's her meal. The flesh is still delicious. Finally, the herb-roasted chicken thighs. I'd pre-cut them, rubbed them with salt, pepper, and plenty of herbs. I started by crisping the skin until browned, then finished the rest of the meat. I placed them on a platter, wrapped each piece in the crisp salad greens, and ate with my hands. Clelia, imitating me again, was delighted. The crispy skin, juicy thigh meat, flavorful herbs, and crisp greens created a perfect harmony. Wonderful. Clelia seemed thoroughly satisfied. We saved the extra half bird and half fish for tomorrow's breakfast and lunch bento. After the meal, tired but content, it was time for language study. I asked Nanam to update me on the languages I'd learned so far. My head spun under the flood of knowledge. These updates are memory injections, like indoctrination. Knowledge is directly written into the brain, as if experienced. But the human mind has limited capacity. Too much uploaded could cause mental breakdown. Only opportunity available knowledge, languages, military regulations, recipes, can be uploaded, and only within the brain's lifetime capacity. I gestured to Clelia to ask if she'd teach me her language. After some back and forth, she finally understood and spoke slowly and clearly. I understood nothing, but had Nanam update what she said later. We sat around the campfire practicing late into the night. This routine, food quest by early afternoon, dinner, language study, had continued for 4 days. Each morning, I received a quest from Nanam based on Clelia's nutrition. By 2 or 3 p.m., I'd complete it, return, cook dinner, then learn language at night. It felt like a parent bird gathering food for its chick. Today, Nanam wanted to examine her leg. 3 days since we reached the base. I gestured to Clelia, explaining that we'd examine her leg. She nodded, resolved. She removed her prosthetic and bandages. The stump looked normal, skin had fully healed. The big change, the leg had regrown up to just above the ankle, about 10 centimeters, compared to before when it stopped mid-shin. Clelia seemed astonished. She opened and closed her mouth, hesitating to speak, then lightly touched the leg. It dawned on me I hadn't explained it well. Once it healed more, she'd understand. The current prosthetic would no longer work. Once the ankle formed, the old socket would trap her foot inside. I gestured that I would remake it. She nodded vacantly, still staring at the leg. Was she all right? Materials and design were ready, so I finished by noon. It fastened via 4 suspension straps. Simple. The height is adjustable, though it won't support long distances like before. Clelia tried it on and walked. It worked. Good. Quest time. Although we started late, I had mapped most vegetable patches and guessed prey locations. We'd manage. 2 days later in the morning, Clelia stopped me. She had something to tell me. Since the prosthetic was remade, she'd seemed subdued. She pointed to her leg, which had grown to just below the ankle. With a preoccupied expression, she talked fast, pointed at the growing part. I nodded along, saying, "Yes, it's healing," but she froze. I thought, maybe I should ask Nanam. I gestured for Nanam, saying, "Show expected regrowth per day in red." Nanam projected a red plane in the air, marking the daily expected regrowth. I counted off on my fingers. Day 1, this much. Day 2, that much. Prediction, 8 more days.
Clelia's eyes filled with tears, and then she sobbed aloud. Oh no, I'd failed to explain. Of course the sudden regrowth would scare her. I stroked her head and she stopped crying. I told her, your arms will heal too, but you have to eat well, with gestures. She nodded happily. From that day on, Clelia's appetite skyrocketed. I lay resting at the base. Lord Corinth has gone out hunting today. It's been 3 days since I arrived. Is it truly okay for me to lie here idle all day? It's supposed to be convalescence. But while Lord Corinth works so hard for food, I sleep all day. His meals are delicious, I have no complaints. But is my leg really improving? I feel no pain or difference. Today's dinner was exquisite. The next morning, he asked to see my leg. Finally, it's back. What if it had worsened? I'd been resting as much as possible. Seeing the leg, I was astonished. It's regrowing. The stump was mid-shin before, but now it's healed up to just above the ankle. Impossible. My mind must be failing. Did I imagine the extension because I wanted it so badly? I touched it. There's flush there. But could my mind be tricking me? Then Corinth told me he'd remake the prosthetic. Why? I liked the old one. But there's too much on my mind now. For 2 days, I couldn't stop thinking. I'd heard amputees sometimes crack under trauma. Am I losing my mind? But in the past 2 days, it's grown again. 2 days ago, there was no ankle. Now there is. I can't bear this. I must ask Corinth to confirm. Before he left for the hunt, I asked, I think my leg has grown. See? It reached here. I struck it to produce a sound, desperate. Corinth simply nodded. Yes, that's right. I didn't understand. Legs don't grow. Then he counted on his fingers and pointed progressively beyond my foot. Was he mapping days to growth? Oh yes, of course. He knew all along. He used secret techniques. My foot is healing in days. When he reached 8, he stopped. Only 8 more days and it'd heal. Incredible. I'm not going crazy. Thank heavens. I found myself weeping with relief. Lord Corinth gently patted my head, just like an elder brother. Suddenly, I was taken aback. Then he explained with gestures, next, the arm will heal too. He showed days and expected regrowth. If I keep eating as before, 8 days for the arm too. But if I don't eat well, healing will slow. If delicious meals from Corinth can heal my limbs, it's nothing. I will eat with all my heart.